What's good, everybody? I'm BPC and welcome to Competitive Origins MMA. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you can be notified on future videos. And don't forget to ground and pound that like button, please. Now, today's topic is Jake Paul actually serious about fighting these MMA fighters? Now, I'm going to talk more about that in just a moment, but first I want to point out that I'm wearing a Competitive Origins Get It Done t-shirt, and you can get it done at competitiveorigins.com. Now, a portion of the proceeds will go towards the channel so we can provide a better experience for you guys at home. And if you type in promo code MMA25, I'll give you 10% off your order. Now, you've been competing since conception, whether you're competing against yourself or others. Competitive Origins. All right, guys. YouTube personality Jake Paul. I've already made a video talking about his recent fight with Nate. You know, Kryptonate to be exact. And if you go watch the entire video, and at the end there'll be a link where you can actually listen to what I had to say about that fight. Like I said, he absolutely murdered him. So he's basically on this high, okay? He got this win over a former NBA basketball player with little to none fighting experience whatsoever. And it happened to be on a very large platform, the Tyson vs. Jones card. And he basically had the best result that you could ask for out of a fighter, a first round knockout in devastating fashion. I believe it was about 3 knockdowns, and that third one basically put him to sleep for multiple minutes. Now, he's basically went out, he says he has a list of who he would like to fight, and on the top of the list, he called out Conor McGregor. He followed it up with Conor's friend, Dillion Danis, who currently fights for Bellator MMA. And then he said he wants to fight his own brother, Jake Paul. Jake Paul. Okay, and no, Logan Paul. There we go. It's sometimes you get the names mixed up. So he wants to go ahead and fight Logan Paul. He wants to fight KSI, who his brother Logan Paul fought to a draw and a loss. And then he wants to follow it up with Austin McBroom. Now, KSI, Logan Paul, Austin are all YouTubers, so that's not really why you tuned in today. Why you tuned in today is because he's calling out a lot of MMA fighters. Now, he most recently got into it with Henry Cejudo. They both, went back and forth with a Twitter battle. Henry loves to freaking talk trash. That's why he's the king of cringe, and he definitely held up to his end of the bargain. And the sparring match between the two, I have, Henry coming out on top. Now, Henry is the former 125 and 135 UFC champion, and he retired on a high note, didn't lose the titles, basically relinquished them, and just went into retirement. Now, he says that he's always down to come back if the right opportunity were to present itself, and maybe Jake Paul is that opportunity. But when you really think about it, Jake Paul's almost 190 pounds, while Cejudo, maybe, after a shower, he's maybe 145, at the most, maybe 150, who knows, but he's definitely not a heavy individual and is going to be a lot shorter. I don't really see that fight really going down. Now, as far as the Conor McGregor fight, Dana White, the UFC president, effectively turned it down. He said he's not going to let it happen. He basically wants Conor to be in these high mega fights. And don't get me wrong, a fight with Jake Paul would, be a pretty big fight from the casual perspective. You know what I mean? There's probably a lot of people that would love to see Jake Paul get his head punched in. That's basically what it is. And then Jake Paul would also have his fan base. So he does kind of have a point there when he's calling out Conor McGregor, saying it would be definitely a big fight. Not a competitive fight, but a big fight in which could generate some dollars. Now, Dana did say that he would be interested in letting Amanda Nunes go out there and knock him out. Now, I'm guessing that was probably a joke, but he did bring up Amanda Nunes probably because she's the 135 and 145 female champion. Now, will he take a fight with Amanda Nunes? It's questionable. Amanda, is a girl, and it seems like it's a lose-lose situation for Jake Paul. See, if Jake Paul were to hit a girl, that would look bad. If Jake Paul were to beat a girl in a fight, it's like, okay, well, you beat a girl. Why don't you beat a man? And then if Jake Paul were to lose to Amanda Nunes, he would be the instant new meme. It would basically erase all the Nate, memes that are out there with him going to sleep, especially in the fashion that Nunes would beat him. Now, will they fight? Anything's possible, but I truly don't think, Jake would take that risk. Now, as regards to anything else, he did come out and basically say that he's offering $50 million to Conor McGregor. And before that, he followed up with multiple expletives, basically disrespecting, Conor McGregor, disrespecting his wife, just really horrible. But, it's got the views, it's gone viral, and it actually sparked, other fighters to come out and say something like Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is sick and tired of the crap. He's sick and tired of this guy running his mouth, and he's actually come out and said he needs to chill out, basically. He actually said other words, but that's the nicer way of saying it, and he even basically, he got a response from Jake, and Jake was like, hey, I beat up your man or whatever, you can come get it too. Now, Nate basically replied back to that, Logan Paul, get your little brother in check. Now in regards to the video that he posted, that was Nate's friend. His name is AJ. And basically it was a sparring session. Now it was only about 10 seconds long that I recall. And you don't really know what the circumstances of the sparring setup was and why he was able to continuously hit him. But it did look favorable for Jake Paul. Now, AJ was not going to be embarrassed and did come out and post a picture basically showing him tapping out Jake Paul. He basically referred to him as his son and said a whole bunch of different things about how him and his mother, and da-da-da-da, and, it was all in good fun. Where that goes, I'm not sure. He does look like he's also a smaller fighter compared to Jake. Jake I don't know, Jake's almost like a bully. He likes to pick on people smaller than him. But eventually he's going to come across somebody that's smaller than him and that's not going to put up with this crap. Now, as far as Jake goes, he did clown Dana. He said basically, Dana, like, you're turning me down because Conor's such a good fighter, this and that, but then you offer up, Nunes, who's also a good fighter, so it doesn't quite make sense. I have the fans, I have the popularity, Conor does too. Let's make this fight happen. Now, I believe Clarissa Shields, who is a boxing champion, who's also transitioning to MMA, basically said she wants to knock him out. She wants to hit him. So that's actually, one other person that Jake Paul can add to his list as far as people that want to beat him. And actually the second female, because Amanda Nunes has come out and said that she is down to take on the fight. Like I said, I doubt he would take that fight. It would be interesting to see if he were to take any fights against Nate Diaz, or Dillion Danis. I totally think that's eventually going to come forth. But it's only a matter of time before it actually happens. The time is ticking, you gotta strike while the iron's hot. And basically Jake Paul's doing his thing. He's getting out there, he's getting the mouthpiece. He's bringing a lot of notoriety to it. When you think about it, like, he got the victory, in boxing. So you got the boxing fans, you got the casuals, and NBA, he got the NBA people on notice because he knocked out a former NBA player. And now he's talking so much trash about UFC. So he has the UFC on notice. He has those fans going on. He even basically found out where Dillion Danis was at when he was in the middle of doing an interview in Los Angeles and did a drive-by. They pulled up, they started throwing stuff at him. Dennis caught a piece of toilet paper and ran after the vehicle and launched it, and Jake was go, 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 go. So they were basically trying to get away, and people called him out for that, like, why did you run? And Jake's response was, you know what? It's called a drive-by for a reason, guys. You guys are pretty stupid at home. Or essentially that's what he was saying. And, why would he fight for free is also what he continued on with. And I totally get it. Why would he fight for free? Now, Mike Tyson has been known to fight for free on the streets, and he makes a big paycheck. So it wouldn't be out of the norm for somebody that collects checks to actually get into a fight on the streets, now would it? Well, go into the comment section below. Let me know what you think about all this going on. Do you think Jake Paul is actually serious, that he's trying to fight either one of these guys? In the Yoel Romeo video that I just released about why Bellator signed him, I'll put a link at the end. I also talk about how Melky Kawa, Yoel Romero's manager, basically tried to set up a fight between these two, and he was uninterested. It's almost appearing like Jake doesn't want to fight, a middleweight, light heavyweight, or heavyweight, somebody his size or bigger. He's only looking for the smaller people, and at the moment, the females are ready to tear his head off. Quite interesting. We'll see what happens. Like I said, go into the comment section below. I want to hear your feedback. Tell me what your thoughts are about this whole situation. Obviously, at the end of the day, this is the fight game. This is prize fighting, right? So you got to do stuff to get people excited, get people into the seats. And I believe Jake Paul happens to be doing that. Now, has he crossed the line a little bit? Absolutely. Might he get himself caught on the streets? Quite possibly. But you never know. You never know. Go to competitiveorigins.com, type in promo code MMA25, get 10% off your order. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm BPC, and have a great day.